Thank you so much for being on the pod. I'm so excited to have you here with us today.
Thank you. Pleasure's mine. Thanks for
Yeah,
inviting me.
of course. So you're an Albanian American born and raised in New York, also an interventional cardiology physician assistant at SBH Systems. So can you
Yes.
just kind of like talk about your journey into, I guess, adjusting to life? Well, you were born here, but like your parents kind of adjusting to
Mhm.
life here and your upbringing and your journey to becoming a physician assistant.
Sure, sure. Thank you again for you guys inviting me. Um, Basically, my story is the story of many, many different people that are kind of born and raised in New York.
Yeah.
I was born in the early 90s here,
Hmm.
um, in New York City, in the Bronx. Parents came over with my dad was he was taught to be an English major. Sorry, an Albanian language major,
Hmm.
and he was supposed to teach Albanian language back home in Kosovo, but nepotism and other things that were going on in that time in Yugoslavia, he couldn't find work um, without having the right connections or whatever else it may be. So he farmed, and so did my mother. Um, they got together. They had us. I was the only one that was made it to New York, and I was born here. So I was the only one that made it to New York without being born back home. And basically, it was just a pretty interesting upbringing in the sense that as an Albanian American, it's almost like you have two parallel upbringings.
Hmm.
They kind of run in parallel. So the
Yeah.
first one is obviously your family and how they teach you your language and they teach you your customs, your values. For us, it was really important family. We saw family very often as a kid. And then also, faith was something that was kept alive. My mother used to bring us to our local church every Sunday or as much as she could convince us to. And yeah, basically, that was that beautiful upbringing where we got to eat all of our foods and speak our language and have that deep, deep connection that I'm sure most of us have felt in our life. Having, Albanian family members, Albanian cousins,
Hmm.
even Albanian friends. And then on the parallel is being born and raised in the Bronx. And there's so much different things going on in the Bronx. All the stuff that you see on the internet about the Bronx is sort of true.
Hmm.
There's a lot of different currents that are happening here. A lot of them for good, some of them for bad, um, and some of them for good, some of them for bad. But in all, it was a humbling upbringing, and you had to constantly kind of incorporate the best of both worlds as much as you could growing up.
Yeah.
And for my family, the major thing that they wanted us to accomplish, they wanted us to get educated. My parents were constantly, telling us about being educated because that would be kind of a route out of having to suffer through poverty. My parents came with zero in their wallets, and in the negative because of the debts that they owed people. Because people at that time did not have that surplus cash, and not only did they work hard and pay back that money, but they were able to make a life here. But they had to struggle hard and they had to survive. So basically, we got taught that always, and I guess that education emphasis was meant to serve that security emphasis that they had for us. Um, and then when it came time for me to start making a decision as to what I want to do with my life, um, my brother had been a PA before me, my older brother. He had just graduated as I was graduating high school. So he graduated PA school, I graduated high school, and he simply said to me, "Rich, it's a great job. You should definitely like do it. You should look into it. Since you like science, you're good at all these different biology and all this stuff, chemistry." And he said, "Go for it, and you'll be financially secure." And that was like kind of like the thing coming from my parents as well. It's like
Yeah.
you got to make yourself financially secure. You got to be able to support a family.
Mhm.
Um, and in my heart at that time during high school, I liked the PA idea, but politics was a big thing in my head, political science.
Mhm.
I had gotten a big desire to do something in that space, because during high school, I used to love debating. Not love in the sense of like I love the combat. I just loved trying to get to the truth. It was the idea was for me, I knew in my heart that I wanted to tell the truth in public. That was a big desire in my heart. And I thought that that was the way I would kind of execute that or do that, was by doing political science. So I was kind of torn for a little bit. Actually got accepted into PA school 1 week before college started. I changed to political science. I did political science classes for 1 week.
Wow.
And, yeah. And then while I was doing political science classes, I was like, oh no, this is not for me. Even though I was very intrigued and interested, something in my heart just didn't let me rest and have peace. And I went back to the dean at the PA school and I said, can you take me back? Yeah.
That is
So
such a
this was
unique
like
story.
a little dance, but honestly, and I have to admit, initially, not a fun time. That changing, one of the most tumultuous times of my life. Very like psychologically hard, stressful. But with the help of my family, with my siblings, brothers and sister, like they got me through it. I cemented myself there in the PA school. I was a little bit sad and scared and like saying, did I miss my destiny? Did I miss out on my truth-telling desire? What am I going to do with this? And one of the things, sorry to tell the story, but it has a reason. One of the things I did learn was it was kind of the end of that first fall semester of doing that PA program it was at St. John's University. And I remember sitting down with my brother and telling him, man, I really hope like I didn't ruin what like God intends for my life, Yeah. Because I had a deep desire for that. And he said, Rich, you can do PA school. And the beautiful thing about being a PA is that, you're working 3 days a week, most places, you're doing 12-hour shifts. You can still pursue those passions that you have afterward. You can even go back to school afterward if you want. And so it brought me a big sense of peace, him saying that to me. And it really made a lot of sense. So I kind of chugged along. The chugging along eventually became like much more easier, and I actually started to enjoy everything. And definitely I was meant to be a PA. I was definitely graduated in 2013 from St. John's again. First job, I started as an emergency room physician assistant. I did that for about 3 years at Albert Einstein College of Medicine, their hospital. The hospital that they're affiliated with is Jack D. Weiler Hospital, which is part of Montefiore, a big system here in New York. And I was there, and first day petrified, dealing with patients that have stroke and dealing with patients that have heart attack and all this stuff. But I was in it, and within like 1 or 2 weeks, like I was in it, and I was learning so much. The attendings I worked with were great, and like I just knew that I belonged, and definitely was secure financially, secure in terms of what I was doing, how I was acting out my life, because that's one of the big questions growing up is like, what is my life going to mean, just to finish this story. Now I've been PA for about, it's going to be 11 years soon. Okay.
Wow.
October 24, 11 years as a PA. I entered into the Cath lab about 8 years ago. First at Montefiore, and now where I am here at SBH. I work with Dr. Suleiman Celay. We call him Mani for short. He's a very well-known, well-respected cardiologist here in our local community. He also does interviews on Albania and Kosovo, so people know him all over the place.
Okay.
So, and he's great to work with. He's an amazing friend, and he's been. Me and him are kind of like tied at the hip and doing the work there at the Cath lab, and it's been a great experience. One last thing, so I think that will be helpful, is that I did go back to school.
I saw that. I was just about to bring that up.
Yes. Sorry, I'm going like full monologue. So basically, back in 2017, I was in the ER working, and ER shifts are crazy. You got night shifts, weekend shifts. There's no kind of regularity at all, especially to plan a part-time education. So I was talking to my manager. I said, his name was Robert at that time. I said, I would like to go back to school, but I need a set schedule. He said, Rich, it's really hard for me to do that at this time. There's a lot of senior PAs to me, a lot of people vying for set schedules. And I just was kind of prayed about it and left it to God. I said, God, if you want me to do this, you're going to help me. And I remember really doing that. And eventually one day, I'm just sitting doing an ER shift, a busy ER shift, and a colleague who's a colleague I worked with, her name was Mary Jo. She was a physician assistant in the Cath lab. And she basically came down one day during consulting a case and left me a Post-it note on my desk which said, we need a PA in the Cath lab, no nights, no holidays, no weekends. And I said, okay, this is interesting. And I looked into it. The schedule worked out really good. That's what led me to go into the Cath lab, and then gave me the opportunity to go back to school. So I did a master's at Fordham University for ethics and society. Did that and finished in 2019. And yeah, that little dream that I had back then came true, where I was able to go back to school and look into that desire. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Wow. I feel like things always work out, or what's best for you at the end of the day. So
Yes.
everyone's journeys are so different, but
it's one of those things where we, as human beings, I think naturally we get pretty anxious about life. We try to control every facet, but there is a kind of like a loving guiding force that's in our life. I call that God, and I know that he's in care for us just like a father is, so it was really like tailor-made care. That's how it's personal. It's like it's just what you need in your situation.
Yeah. Well, I know you touched a bit YPA, but I know like a lot of people, a lot of Albanians, they either decide to pursue an MD or become a lawyer, like the main careers. It's like no other career choices exist except for those two. But I'm just curious, like for people out there watching this who are interested in, going in the medical field, but they're like, don't know what other, I guess, career options exist. So what were kind of like benefits to?
Being a doctor is a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
It's an amazing thing. I don't think it's for everybody.
Not.
Same thing it is so if you have a desire to serve people and to heal their bodies and to take a part in that activity, doctors don't do it alone, right? So for all you like younger people that are listening to this, high schoolers maybe, doctors are not the only people providing care in the hospital, right? So PAs are one of them. We're physician assistants. They changed our names recently to physician associate. Basically, we're the right-hand man. We're doing maybe 95% of what a doctor would do in the day-to-day. It all depends on kind of where you work. Where I work, Dr. Chedai allows me to really be fully practicing as a physician assistant, which is an amazing feeling. So there's a lot of trust that goes into that, obviously, and you have to earn that trust. You have to, but it's been, that's possible, and that's possible with, for me, I when I went into it, it changed a little bit. When I went into school, it was a bachelor's degree. There was none of this master's requirement now that physician associates have. But in any case, now it's a master's, and still that's a far less, a greater commitment than something like a medical school would be, right? Which is, you're going to be 8 years essentially in learning before you enter into the hospital and function as a resident, which is that doctor in training, right? Again, we need doctors. There's a big shortage that's going to start happening soon. But thank God, physician associates, they exist. We do a lot, and and then there's also nurses and nurse practitioners, which are nurse practitioners, for those that you are not aware. Sometimes I direct people that way, because PA schools become super, super competitive. Not enough programs, so many applicants, you know how that goes. Scarcity breeds a lot of competition. So for all you people that really want to like take care of patients and write prescriptions and all that stuff, and PA school seems a little bit out of reach for whatever reason, definitely don't disregard the nursing route, which can lead to like an NP school later on. A lot of hospitals, especially the big hospital systems, at least presently, they pay for you to go back to school. They'll pay for your program, for your NP program. And once you're an NP, man, that's a lot of independence. You're functionally like a PA, and actually a little bit more legal freedoms than a PA does have. You can open up your own clinic. You can kind of run your own clinic. So just options I'm mentioning to people. I love my job. I'm not going to change at this point. But there's a lot of ways to serve human beings and their bodily health and their needs. And then lastly, I would say I did definitely contemplate, an MD route at some point. I was in PA school. I was meeting a lot of doctors. I was functioning well with the job. People trusted me. And so I knew I can get my recommendation letters, and I had the experience and all that stuff that maybe I would have a strong chance if I wanted. But at the end of the day, I looked and said, do I want to be a doctor? Do I want to have, it's a very sacrificial life in one sense, because you're putting a lot of your time and energy to becoming a doctor. And then once you are a doctor, you are the buck stops with you. There's nobody that goes above you for your patient. And so, when you're with your patient and you're having a difficult procedure and you can't seem to help them through, like, that's on your shoulders, and somebody needs to bear that on their shoulders. Each of us are called to bear different things on our shoulders, and so you have to kind of know yourself and know what you're about. For me, and the way my personality is set up, the way I function is, I was happy to take that more secondary role, even though I don't feel like, I feel like what I do is only what I can do, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
What I do for our patients in the cath lab is definitely secondary to the attending that I work with. But there's nobody else that can do what I do still. And it's really important, especially when you put love into it. Like I said, those moments where you're having eyes to see the different needs of the people that are with you, and you're trying just to kind of pour out love and your expertise. That expertise gets somehow better when there's love in it. When you don't have it, love in your skills, and you're just kind of functioning almost like a robot, it ends up detrimenting the way you do your work. And I've discovered that because I'm human, and human beings get tired, we get jaded sometimes, get burned out, exactly. But you always have to kind of go back to the basics. Why am I doing what I'm doing? What's the beautiful thing that's happening here that I need to be aware of, be awake to, that this is happening? So
I feel like one of the good things about being a PA or a nurse is you can go into different specialties throughout your career, whereas doctor, you just if you're a neurologist, you're a neurologist. That's it. If you decide you hate working in neurology, well, too bad.
Yes, that flexibility is a wonderful gift. And I'm very happy that I was able to have that flexibility. Yeah, to do what I do now, in terms of to be a doctor doing interventional cardiology, you have to do internal medicine, then you have to specialize in cardiology, then you have to subspecialize in interventional cardiology, and there's just 10 years of schooling right there. Whereas with a PA, I got a Post-it note on my desk, come and join the cath lab. So it's a beautiful thing, that flexibility. I can actually go quickly. I had organized I have a very good PA student that's shadowing me right now, pre-PA student. And he's kind of in it right now, the process. And I said, hey, Andrew, give me an updated, what do you need to know to get into PA school? So maybe I'll go through that real quick, just for people's benefit.
For sure. That'd be awesome.
Right now, it's basically the case that most PA schools are not most. All of the PA schools are master's degree programs. Okay, you have to have a master's. So people want a bachelor's degree. So these programs want a bachelor's degree. Usually they want it in prerequisites science majors, and some prerequisites are all different for each school that you look at. But generally speaking, it's general biology, general chemistry. You have organic chemistry labs, anatomy, physiology. Sometimes microbiology and behavioral sciences. And then they have some level of some credits needed in mathematics, statistics, some English. These are the small credit classes, right? And basically, again, every program is specific with what prereqs they require. Some courses will require even medical terminology class before you go in there, okay? But in any case, they really want successful applicants have a GPA of 3.6 or higher. There are people that go from 3.0 to 3.3, but 3.6 and higher is best. And then I think one of the things people should start preparing in their minds for PA school is that they want some patient healthcare experience. Okay, so they want about 200 to 500 hours, like as a minimum of patient care hours, which is basically means you're somehow interacting with a patient, whether you're drawing blood work, you're an EKG technician, you're an EMT, you can be in an office doing some other ancillary tasks, but they want patient experience, and then they want about 40 hours of shadowing experience with a PA, roughly speaking. Okay, could be PA, could be MD as well. So that is kind of like the educational background. You also need money. Money. Nowadays, the
We
colleges
always
have
need
gotten
money.
more expensive. You know, step one, have some money. Thankfully, there's like student loan programs and stuff like that. And there are programs I would tell people to be alert for, depending on the state that you're in. There are programs where they want you to serve underserved communities, and they do some version of loan forgiveness or tuition kind of lowering or something to that effect. So again, this is all like specific that you guys have to look up a little bit, but these are kind of the broad strokes of it. And there's something called the CASPA application, CASPA.
Oh,
And
we have
that's
to do that for med school as well.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we're copying you guys, you know, with everything. So basically, the CASPA application is like a centralized app that you're able to send applications out to many different programs. And yeah, that's kind of the spiel I got for that. I hope that's helpful for like the high schoolers, especially.
Oh, wait. Okay. I think what I was talking about was the Casper exam. Like it's another exam. I think we're talking about different things
CASPA
right now.
exam?
Yeah.
As far as I know, there's no CASPA exam. We have a PANCE exam, PANCE. So after we finish PA school, there's an accreditation exam before you can function as a PA, like be licensed. As far as I know, and I could be wrong, so you guys can let me know. But it's been 11 years, so you gotta forgive.
No, I think I
was
misunderstood what you were saying. So yeah, for medical school, like you have to take the MCAT and then also the Casper assessment, which is like an open response situational judgment test. No,
So
okay,
the
two different things.
thing is, So CASPA, CASPA is that's the name, the acronym for the application to get into PA programs.
Gotcha. So what has been some of the most fulfilling aspects of your career in medicine so far?
Yeah, that's a nice question. Honestly, it's all if you have what do you have eyes to see? You know, obviously it's very good, very fulfilling to be able to have a hard day's work. You know that you took care of your patients well. Yeah. You know that the people that you work with, right? They value your work, and they trust you, you know, and they have a feeling, just that feeling of trust in you. Yeah. But it's also the satisfaction comes from, you know, the different interactions you have with the individuals that are there. Really, every single patient has their own story, has their own like dignity, and if you have the eyes to see it, each moment that you deal with a person like this, it becomes an opportunity for a lot of like beautiful things, like a lot of beauty and meaning. It can just be a simple conversation. You know, you catch, sometimes patients are very easy to tell you directly what they're there for, and you do that service for them, and it's great. Other times, while they're telling you that, they mention, you know, something else, and it's something that catches your ear, and you have always an opportunity to be like, oh, what's that? You know, what's that about? And so you'll find out, oh yeah, my husband died 6 months ago, and I'm really struggling from that. You'll hear a lot of different stories, and it just gives you an opportunity, a place to be human.
And now it's time for our fun fact of the day. As most of you have probably started watching this week, the 2024 Paris Olympics are here, and already Kosovo has secured 2 medals at the Paris 2024 Olympics. First one by Destria Kresnice. She's won a silver and has also made history as the only Kosovar athlete to earn both a gold and silver Olympic medal. And secondly, Laura Fazlio wins bronze. The bronze is Kosovo's 5th overall Olympic medal and 2nd at Paris 2024. And now back to our guest speaker. How do you manage, kind of shifting into personal life, hobbies? How do you manage to balance the demands of your career and your personal life?
Okay, that's a good question. Honestly, thankfully, I really, I'm not struggling with that too much.
Okay.
There's a clear kind of boundary to where my work begins and my work ends.
Okay.
That's kind of my situation. I know that there's situations that are different out there for PAs. I think generally speaking, that's one of the beauties of being a PA is that your work ends at work.
Okay.
And being a doctor, like I said before, it's a sacrificial thing. You know, it's only you that can do certain things. And so there are doctors who are on call, right? They're on call for emergency procedures. I happen to be on call as well, about 10 or 12 days a month. We deal with emergency cases that require, you know, interventional cardiology, people having a heart attack. We go out there, try to get there within 30 minutes, do some procedure to open up blockages in places. Then I am part of that team. I'm not always the only part of that team, you know, but doctors are always there. It has to be, you know, it has to be a doctor there at the end of the day. So something to pay mind to. And the other thing is with work-life balance, you just have to, I would say with work, as much as possible, try to bring your personality and who you are to work. Now, it can be difficult sometimes. Sometimes it can be safer to just be this generic version of you, but you are spending 8 hours of the day, like for the rest of your life, working with your work family. And trust me, work can give you personal problems. You know, you're working with people for 8 hours out of the day. The other 8's with your family, the other 8's sleeping, right? Let's say as a, you know, a simple division here. And you gotta figure that out. You gotta do that well, because you can be miserable in that sense if you don't know how to deal with those dynamics of interpersonal relationships. So always, obviously, be respectful. That's a prerequisite in a professional environment. Respect goes a long way. And if you can't have much more for somebody, respect is still due to them. Even if someone does wrong to you. And I found this very helpful in my life, especially in my career. Even if someone does wrong to you, that doesn't mean that you get to be bad to them. Doesn't mean that you lose the ability, you have to lose respect for them. That respect is that unconditional prerequisite that if society does not have, we're done for. Like, we will. So the same thing with the hospital. I've worked in many different departments. I've seen a lot of different work cultures. It all lives and dies by that. You have to be able to forgive in order for a work culture to not be toxic. You have to be able to be humble and to be yourself in order for a work culture not to be toxic. And they abound. There's a lot of toxic work cultures out there. And you do your best. You know, it's not like you go in there and you can change everything, but in a weird way, when you are yourself and you're the best version of yourself and you try to bring love, like I said earlier, to every situation, you happen to have some sort of effect that's not minuscule. It's not unseen. It does change people, even if it's kind of like a silent, quiet thing. So I would say that's a really important thing with work-life balance, because then if your workplace kind of is stressing you and aggravating you and giving you psychological issues, like, that's bad. That's coming home with you. You're taking it on your back, and then you're stressing about it. And then when you're going to work in the morning, you're stressing about it, and it's affecting your home life too. So wherever we are, I kind of dislike that concept of work and life balance. It's one life. We have to integrate our life as much as possible. Everything has to be one whole thing. And I think if you compartmentalize things in such a way, it catches up to you at some point, you know? I do for me, I have a lot of extracurricular things that I'm involved with that time is the main balancing act, I would say. But like it's all the same story for me in one sense, you know? Um, Work is just one way that God has given me to act in the world, to serve the people around me.
Yeah.
My family life is another way that God has given me to serve people and love them around me. Um, I was involved with like AEMS for a little while. So for those of you that don't know, especially pre-med guys, pre-biology guys, sorry, pre-PA and stuff, definitely please like join, be interested in, look at, follow AAMS, Albanian American Medical Society.
Yeah.
It's the only like real organization that exists here in America for all Albanian Americans that are interested in medicine. It helps you to get educated to the processes that are needed to like get into schooling, to get into careers. It gets you connected to a network of Albanian physicians, medical professionals that are really just great to learn with. You need mentors, so find this network. They have journal clubs and all that stuff, and sometimes they'll even
I'm a
have like
part of it, by the
free
way.
healthcare. Oh
So,
yeah, you became a part of
yeah.
it. Awesome, awesome. And
We
what have
have
you
a
been
group
doing?
chat that I can link below. We have a WhatsApp now. So
Okay,
for
very
others
good.
if you are interested.
I was a part of it about 20 in 2021. I
Uh,
helped organize a free health fair that we did in New York at Our Lady of Shkodra Church.
okay.
I learned how to do this thing because I went over to Michigan to Michelle Manga, who's now doing internal medicine residency over in Michigan. She had held a free health fair in the Michigan church, and
Oh,
it was helped out by AMS a little bit. They sponsored it. They supplied supplies for the fair, but they didn't lead it. They didn't organize it. Michelle did in a wonderful way. And I went over there. I learned from her, and I brought it to New York for AEMS. And then I helped um, I helped organize this AEMS Health Facts page. So
okay.
I just didn't stick with it too long, unfortunately. I had
Well,
other things to.
oh, that's so funny. So have you,
Are
do you
you?
follow our Instagram now?
Of course, because I made
Okay.
it.
We,
Yeah, I
oh,
mean, I don't
wait,
blame
you
you for
made
not
the
knowing it.
health? Okay, I'm
So
so
I'm
confused.
no, it's not your fault. It's a hidden history. Basically, I stopped functioning in
Okay.
AMS. I kind of told Dr. Gosh
Yeah.
I really don't have the time at the moment. But please like continue this. But I
Yeah.
yeah, I it was sort of my idea. Sort of my
Okay.
idea.
So you
I
initiate
obviously
it. We,
I gave it to Dr. Gosh. I said, hey, we should do this, and then she blessed it, and we went forward, and we had some good start. But we need people like you. Are you part of that now?
yeah, well, I signed up to like have a health fact, like do a health fact sort of thing.
Awesome.
So
Yeah.
yeah, I'm
Yeah. We need
excited.
people like you to do it because
Yeah, it's
it's pretty
exciting.
time consuming. Yeah. And it's a great thing. So,
Yeah.
but in any
Awesome.
case, to go back to AMS, that was kind of my involvement, but I loved that. I benefited from that so much. Um, and then right now, in terms of other things that I do with my time is, I said, work, family. AMS was something that was a big part. The main thing for me right now is a group that I started with two good friends of mine,
Mhm.
Christina Vukaj and Pieter Nile.
Mhm.
Um, we started a young adult Catholic group at our church, at Our Lady of Shkodra. It's called Shpresa Shqiptarve. And basically this group, it's like a mission to get Catholic young adults together, to get honestly all Albanian young adults together. It's
Mhm.
open to all, but our job was to kind of reintroduce the Catholic faith to our young adults, so that they can have this relationship with Christ.
Mhm.
Because faith is something very important to me. It's been something that became super important to me, especially in high school, college years. Um, and that's where I'm putting a lot of attention, enthusiasm, desire comes from my heart in that space. And we've been now doing this for about 4 years.
Mhm.
We hold meetings every 2 weeks, and basically it's like have a meal together. We buy some burek or some pizza. Uh, we'll have some sandwiches. We'll all eat and just socialize. Then we get into kind of learning something, a topic in the faith. So 2 weeks ago we had one about Mother Mary. The week prior we had we had something on forgiveness and et cetera, et cetera. And we kind of sit down with Bible, read together, and it's been something that's been so beautiful in my life. We started off with during COVID, like November 2020, with masks on. And now we've been around for 4 years, and we've started from a group of 30. Now we have about 100 consistently coming, like every 2 weeks. And we have social gatherings that we do as well. We have retreats, spiritual retreats. We just had one in June where we went away to Long Island, not too far, where we did like a spiritual retreat. And we had even our own brand new Albanian priest come with us, Father Victor Gjergje. He came and led the retreat for us. So it's just so much cool stuff happening with that initiative. I even like started a podcast as well, you know.
Okay.
So I'm not unfamiliar with the podcast space. It's called Talk and Hope, and we have a audio recorded one, and we're actually building up a studio to do like a video podcast.
That is awesome.
Hopefully very soon. Yeah. So this is like, for me, this is all me. Like it's not separate parts of me. At work, they definitely know I'm Catholic. They definitely know I'm Albanian. Like this is not a secret.
It is never a secret. No one ever keeps being Albanian a secret.
That's true. That's true. Especially when I have an Albanian doctor by my side. That's definitely not a secret. No. But like again, to go back to that concept of work-life balance, I kind of disagree with that paradigm. It's one life. How are you integrating your one life well? Because it's the same you, here, and here. It ought to be, and you ought to be able to kind of blend that into one personality, one life. Because at the end, when you die, which we all are for that road, you could say that you put your heart there in every single place. I think that's the integrating part there. Is that where did you put your heart in there?
Yeah, everything you do. Yeah. I mean, you put it in an interesting perspective because when you really think about it, like you're right, like start looking at every little aspect, like this is your life. Like there's no, this is where it starts, this is where it ends. That's my little work personality, and then I have like my home life. It's just you all the way around. So,
and this goes everywhere, by the way. Like even with our friendships, right?
Yeah.
Even with the relationships that we have, it's very easy to be another version of yourself, or one that's more acceptable. And there's a constant thing. It's not that I haven't like figured it out. I'm still in the process of like of being consistent with that and being integrated in that sense. But we ought to be integrated because it changes everything. When you are yourself, truly who you're supposed to be, like you end up being transformed, but you transform the world around you in a very positive way. We need everyone's boldness of who they are. Like the world needs it now more than ever. We don't need carbon copies. We have way more than enough of that. I agree. This was something that, not my words, it's the words of it's a young Italian man named Carlos Acutis. He's a blessed and going to become a saint of the Catholic Church next year. Died at, I think, 14, 15 years old from cancer, but is a saint, became a saint. But he used to do a lot of things in the digital space. He used to say, we don't need more copies, photocopies. We need human beings to be themselves, truly themselves. Doesn't mean that, you don't follow the lead of others. You don't follow the good standards of others. And that's crucial in being formed. But we can't be, I think there's a little bit of an identity crisis that everyone gets to face at some point in their life of who am I going to be? And I think we need to be very, very, take that very sacredly, that question, because it matters for the rest of your life. It's going to influence everything. And if you take it with a heart that's open to receiving what your identity is, and then being bold and portraying that identity, because it's maybe a little countercultural, right? Counter the wisdom of the current day, People may hear certain words you say and kind of like cringe a little bit. That's not proper. You get those words like that. Like that's obviously something everyone wants to belong, right? Belonging is important. but it has to be balanced. It has to be also that are yourself,
Yeah.
and you put your heart out there. That's kind of that idea again of that putting your heart in it.
Yeah.
It's like the best parts of yourself, don't hide them.
Have you heard of the concept? I think it's like, I don't know if I'm butchering this, but it's ikigai. It's like this Japanese term. It's spelled IKI.
I thought you were saying like icky
Yeah.
guy. Like, no, I haven't heard of that term. What is that?
It's just like it's a concept referring to something that gives a person like a sense of purpose, like a reason for living. So it
Okay.
goes within like four primary elements. It's like what do you love to do, like your passion, and then what the world needs, like your mission, what you're good at,
Mm,
your actual like uh I don't know what it was. It's like what you're good at, and then another one was like what you can get paid for. And if you can kind
got
of
it.
like figure out like a good just kind of figure that, and it gives your life, I guess it helps give your life sort of kind of meaning, a direction if
Never heard of that concept, but it makes a lot of sense. Yeah, it
yeah.
seems like a lot of just natural wisdom there. You know,
Yeah.
you our our life is meaningful. So the moment you start taking it meaningfully, it's just like already you've made a huge step forward. Where it's not just about like kind of like how do I have the maximum amount of pleasure today,
Yeah.
or how do I have the maximum amount of escape today, where I just want to kind of escape my situation. The more you confront reality with open heart, with open mind, to be taught,
Hmm.
to be taught by reality, and also to then be able to mold reality, you know, on from your own place. We have that dignity. It's amazing that God gives us that ability, but He does. He Most of our life is just a given. You know, you're born in a certain family, you're born in a certain time, place. You're born with a certain face, body. You're born with a certain intellect. Um, you have your name. Nobody asked you, oh, what would you like to be named? You know, you're given it. All these things are very beautiful about life. But then we have this small portion where we take all those things,
Hmm.
and then you kind of you walk with your life
Yeah.
and you live it. And I would say the main thing is for advice, I was just say you got to walk in love always.
Yeah.
Um, if you have love, you have everything. And people have a lot of definitions for love. The Greeks had four words for it. You know, they had uh, they had a lot of different words for it. One was eros, which was that romantic love that we
Mhm.
see kind of overemphasized in our culture,
Yeah.
super that as if that's real love, right?
Yeah.
It's beautiful, it's important, and it's good. It's not the deepest love that exists. The Greeks had a word agape
Mm.
for that real love, which is basically unconditional love. It's the love for the other's good. And you have to have that agape love for yourself too. And you have to have it for others. And that's what kind of makes everything. Um, that's the love of God. You know, in the Christian conception, that's also the love of God. Um, and when you carry that into your life, like it just changes everything. I don't know how else to say it. It's like
It does.
it's the ultimate source of security. Tomorrow, as good as I am at my job, I can get laid off.
Hmm.
It can happen to me tomorrow. I hope it doesn't. I don't want to be put to that test, but it could happen. It's in the realm of possibility because tomorrow I can become unhealthy. It's in the realm of possibility.
Hmm.
I can only take steps to, to do my part for that not to happen, but it can still happen. Does that make my life different or less? No, right? The only thing that will keep my life with meaning in all circumstances is that sense of I always have an ability to love God, to love my neighbor,
Hmm.
and that my neighbor means my family, my friends, my workplace, friends and family, my community, right? Nobody can take that away from you.
Yeah.
That's like where our dignity lies. It's there. That's your choice to me.
Yeah.
Be
Hmm.
brave with your life.
Hmm.
Um, there are bravery doesn't mean be most successful. Bravery doesn't mean be the most rich. Bravery doesn't mean be the most academically successful. I think bravery just means where you are in your life with what God has given you, with where you are right this second in the present. Be brave with what you are and who you are. Um, don't look at others, what others have, what skills they have, what beauty they have, whatever. Don't look at others. Look at your life. It's so much to be grateful for. I tell people all the time, this is something I say often at Spresa, when we have Spresa meetings, which that young adult group that I mentioned earlier, is every single second we get a gift from God. And then I go to my little cardiology spiel, which is every single second your heart beats. You do nothing to do that. You don't think about it to make it happen. You don't make it happen. You don't generate it. You didn't ask for it. It's just there constantly, beat after beat after beat. It's just gift, gift, gift constantly. And I think when we take that mode of living where you're grateful for what you have, and then you go and you be brave with what you have, not only do you walk forward, but everything, your life expands. Your heart expands because you're making much out of little. And everyone, I don't care who it is, everyone's little. There's no human being out there that's a god. They're all human beings. They all have their struggles. They all have their beauties. They all have their skills. What makes a difference is just that you have to choose to live. You have to choose to be brave. You have to choose to use those things that God has given you. And that's what makes a beautiful life at the end of the day. When you're done doing that, you look back, you say, wow, this was beautiful. I look at my parents, they did not succeed by any measure of the world's measurement of success, right? They didn't get to work in a professional job. They didn't do this, that, and the other. They make lots of money. But I look at my parents and I say to myself, these people lived. They're real human beings. They lived in love. They took care of me. And not only will I remember them, but God will remember them forever. And I think that's most important. Like, God made you for a reason. So, go do it.
All right. Well, thank you. Now we're on to our rapid fire round. Sorry.
Oh.
Yeah, there's a rapid fire round where I ask you 10 fun questions and you gotta rapidly respond. Yes.
All right. I hope I don't make a fool of myself.
You're not. All right. So, favorite day of the week? What's your favorite day?
Sunday.
If you could travel back in time, what period would you go to?
That's a cool one. These are things that I don't often think about. Any time back in time. I guess I would go to can I give two answers?
Sure.
I would go to see my grandpa back in that time. I never got to know him. He died over in Kosovo before I was born. Oh. And then I would see Jesus as well when he was walking the earth. Yeah.
All right. Invisibility or super strength?
Super strength.
Last song you downloaded? Or I guess last song you listened to. I don't know why I said downloaded.
I have one that's downloaded.
Okay.
Last song I listened to. There's a song called Susipe, which is Latin word, Suscipe. Okay. And it's a song by Jess Ray. Yeah. Okay. That's the last song I downloaded. Yeah.
Okay. Would you rather be able to speak every language in the world or be able to talk to animals?
Talk to what?
Animals.
Oh, definitely. Are they different? No, I'm just joking. Talk every language in the world.
Okay. What is something you could eat for a week straight?
Pizza.
Pizza. Okay.
Yeah, pizza is amazing.
Yeah, I can never go wrong with pizza. What is the best age?
Best age? 33.
Is that the age you're right now? Okay, getting better. Dark chocolate or milk chocolate?
Dark chocolate be hitting sometimes.
Yeah. What is your favorite movie?
There's a movie called Collateral which is by it's with Tom Cruise and Jamie Foxx.
Okay.
That's one of my favorites. Yeah.
What's a country you'd be okay never visiting in your life?
North Korea.
I knew you were. Why did I know that was going to be an answer? Favorite color.
Red.
Okay. And then favorite Albanian song.
Favorite Albanian song. Oh man. Anything sung by Shkur Tefeza.
Oh, I love
Um,
her. Yeah.
yeah, she's great. Like she has like an original recording, like
Uh-huh.
an original like, OG recording of Jamadani Via Via.
Hmm.
It's on YouTube. Listen to that. That thing is gold.
Can you vala?
Yes, I definitely can do all that.
All right. Well, that was all I have. Thank you
So
so much
much.
for being on the pod. It was such a pleasure speaking to you.
Same here. Pleasure was mine, and I hope it's really helpful to the people that are listening.
Hmm.
Thank you guys. God bless you
Yeah.
guys. Good luck with the project. This is an amazing project. So,
Thank you. Appreciate it. Good luck
yeah.
with yours as well.